Great news in the richest country in the history of countries. Shoplifting is up markedly since the pandemic began in the spring. And it's at higher levels than in past economic downturns, including the Great Recession. This one's greater, apparently. According to interviews with more than a dozen retailers, security experts, and police departments across the country. What's distinctive about this trend in comparison to past ones, experts say, is what's being taken. Staples like bread, pasta, and baby formula. And if you hadn't already seen this news, then a picture is starting to come together in your brain. Yes, we are a country that has caused an increasing number of millions of Americans to have to steal ziti to survive. Because the economy has been so damaged over the past year, and our government decided that a one-time check is probably enough, and people will probably be fine for a year even without jobs. And so this is sort of what you get. Chief executive for a workplace security company says we're seeing an increase in low impact crimes. It's not a whole lot of people going in, grabbing TVs and running out the front door. It's a very different kind of crime. It's people stealing consumables and items associated with children and babies. So there's been a lot of reasons to be incredibly ashamed with our country this year. We can now add this one to that list.
Yeah, and like, again, since the beginning, and I can't believe we're still talking about it, because I think even someone as jaded as myself thought that, hey, at least by December, by the end of the year, maybe we will have right this ship. And hey, we did oust a fascist, so that's good. But from the beginning, we all knew that this virus was shining a black light on our country, that all of the things that we don't have, right? The lack of unemployment benefits, the lack of healthcare, the lack of like just basic infrastructure, right? That all that was coming to a head, that the fact that we've hollowed out what they call the welfare state has meant that we're not prepared, and not to mention hollowed out the actual pandemic response team means that we are not prepared, unlike, let's say, in World War II, when there was massive mobilization, right? And the country was put to work to actually, fight the Nazis and help with the war effort. We got nothing now. And now we see that impact. And again, like, the Republican strategy is to starve people. That is the strategy. Starve people and then make them work for scraps when all this is over. You don't give people relief, because baby formula, pasta, and what is it, bread, that should just be free. I'm sorry, like, I'm just gonna say, you should just get that. Yeah, you should just get that. That like every community, people should just have that. But that's not the plan. The plan is make people starve, make people beg. If they don't do well, it is their own damn fault. That's the ideology, and it doesn't shift even when we need it most. And we've seen that someone like Bernie Sanders has been proven so right all the time.
Well, you certainly need a stout government administration to administer to a crisis of this size. This is certainly when you need government. You need government support, and maybe some of the ways that Francesca's saying, with making food and necessary supplies available for free. That is to say, have the government underwrite it. And you also need, even in the case of the vaccines or healthcare, you need the government to come to the rescue. Now, this is on a grander scale than we've certainly seen in the past. But this is when government has to step up. And then, to the other point, but this government has actually stepped back. They tried to PR their way out of this and still are essentially PRing their way out of this. And so you don't really see them stepping forward in any way that would help solve this problem in getting the necessities to Americans who are desperate for them. And so this is the image of these shoplifters stealing necessities like baby formula. It's pathetic. And it's pathetic that the strongest nation, wealthiest nation on earth should have these scenes become even more prevalent than they were.
Exactly, and relatively early on during this pandemic, one representative was talking about the fact that people are going to be driven to these sorts of petty, small shoplifting sorts of crimes because of desperation. AOC tweeted in response to this story saying, "Remember when Republicans mocked me for warning about this and I was called an effing B on the steps of the Capitol for discussing it?" I want to check if that Republican who called her that is one of those that's signing on to the end of democracy in America. I'm willing to bet yes.
Yeah, I think so.
No, it's not just the theft. It's also people, just huge numbers who are still struggling, even if they don't go to these lengths. There's an estimated 54 million Americans will struggle with hunger this year, a 45% increase from 2019, according to the US Department of Agriculture. And you've probably seen, I know that we've shown on the network over the past 6 months or so, these crazy long lines at like food banks in states across the country, California and Texas, and you can see them in Pennsylvania and all of that. Take a look at this picture. That is not like a crowded parking lot at a Beyonce concert. Those are cars that are lined up to get into a food bank. And there's video you can find online of literally miles long of cars. But thank God we didn't go with the socialists, because you know what we get with socialism, you get food lines. But no, we have that under capitalism, and apparently a period in capitalism that's doing quite well. Like the most wealthy Americans are doing better than ever. So the system seems to be working in regards to those who are best positioned to take advantage of it. But for regular people, you might have to end up waiting in line like that.
For billionaires who are so scared of their own workers, they really aren't making, they're really making the case for revolution. Like for people who are like, oh, it's all socialism and communism and revolution. And then they keep on making the moves to actually ensure that there will be a massive revolution where everyday people are fed up. This is the same year where Amazon, Walmart, and like Target, any major franchise, and especially supermarkets, are absolutely cleaning up. And have they given paid sick leave? Have they extended benefits? No, there's been like a one-time here and there, but no, Amazon, Bezos is sicking spies on their own workers. That's what's going on in this year. So man, you hate socialism so much. Get ready for an actual socialist revolution, because it will be coming if you keep on ignoring the needs of the people. And the last thing I'll just say is that someone like AOC is doing such a good job of framing this in the way that we need to frame it, which is depoliticizing it and making it a moral issue. When people are going hungry on Thanksgiving, that's a moral issue. This is a family values issue. There is a right and a wrong, right? And so it isn't at all about politics. It's about feeding people. What would Jesus do? Look at the stupid bracelet you're wearing on your wrist. Or is that Live Strong? I don't know. Who's canceled? I'm not sure if it was Jesus or Lance. But the point is that it is highly immoral to let 54 million Americans suffer with hunger.
Yes. I agree.
Two things real quick. One is, I'll take the last thing first, which is the AOC point. I agree, she frames things so very well. And to speak to the moral imperative is the only way to speak to this. Unfortunately, if I can just speak frankly, AOC is a political lightning rod. So she can say whatever she wants. It's politicized almost by virtue of the fact that she says it, but she's definitely saying the right thing. Number two, you better hope it's a socialist revolution, because I'll tell you, this elimination of the middle class and this cleavage between the people who have all the money and those who are having less and less and not even enough to get by at all, that may not end up with socialism. You may end up with revolution, but it may be a lot uglier than that. So I think that that's a legitimate meta question to ask. But either way, this is a shameful way for this country to be right now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you would think we do this every day, but it still gets to you seeing the effect that this is having on the country.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.